And so New York City has gone full-blown socialist, ladies and gentlemen. And for establishment Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries, who thought they would be able to ride the wave of the radical left wing of the Democrat Party and still maintain power, they now know it's over. It's a wrap. The Democrat Party as we know it is over. It's now being headed by Zoran Mamdani and the Democrat Socialists of America, who, don't be mistaken, ladies and gentlemen, they made it very clear from the very beginning how they plan to alter the fabric of this country and what makes this country so great. And so let's start right here.
These Democratic Socialists are knocking out Democratic establishment candidates, people, that have been doing this for quite some time. And Bill and Dana, that's why they say they want to take them out. They say they're part of the problem. They need to move the Democratic Party in a new direction. And in this race here in New York City, an endorsement from the mayor meant more than an endorsement from the party's top leaders.
That last June, a year ago tomorrow, was not an anomaly. It was not the end. It was the beginning.
Mamdani went 3 for 3 last night with fellow Democratic Socialists Daria Liza Avila Chevalier, Claire Valdez, and progressive Brad Lander winning. And Brad Lander won fast. We were watching those results come in. They all want to do a few things, all right? Abolish ICE, defund the police, cut ties with Israel, and take the party in a new direction. One of the night's biggest upsets, Chevalier knocking off 5-term Congressman Adriano Espaillat. She's a newcomer, rather. He's not. And she is strongly anti-Israel. I keep thinking back, did I see her out at Columbia? Because she went to school there and she was also leading those campus protests. Israel also the defining issue in this race. One of the main reasons that Congressman Dan Goldman lost to Brad Lander was because of Israel. They're both Jewish, but boy, do they have different takes.
Listen, New York City's obviously absolutely cooked. They just went from blue to even deeper blue. So it's only going to get more radical, more far left out there. And understand this, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this. Listen to this fact as far as, now these numbers might change a little bit, but I can only imagine they're not going to change that much. Some of the numbers that already are in show that only about 10% turnout for registered Democrats in the primaries. And so you have not even half of the registered voters in New York City turning out when it comes to these primaries and who is going to actually be running in November. And when you talk about a deep blue city like New York City, it's not going to be a Republican candidate that's worth even running out there because they have zero shot. And so what happened right there was Democrat Socialists have officially taken over the party, and Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, there's nothing they can no longer do about it. It's over. It's done. And so let's check out this next clip with Stephen Miller on Fox. Take a listen.
Well, this is an issue, Sean, you and I have discussed on your airwaves many times, and tonight brings really terrifying evidence of just, as you said, how far this cancer has spread and is spreading across and throughout the Democrat Party. The candidate who won that race in New York tonight campaigned, as Senator Fetterman said, on abolishing ICE, abolishing borders, abolishing jails. So effectively, this candidate is saying that every single American citizen should live at the mercy of the most violent criminals, terrorists, and thugs on the face of planet Earth. Just our whole country there for the taking, there for the pillaging. No protection for you or your family. And we've seen in every single race where there is an open Democrat primary, the radical left base of the Democrat Party is electing the most socialist, the most communist, the most lunatic candidates, the most fringe candidates that possibly exist. Every one of them, against cops, against ICE, against Border Patrol, against borders, against jails, for every crazy trans idea, against every single tenet of traditional American values, principles, religion, God, all of it.
And here's the thing. You don't have to live in New York City for this to affect you, because what's happened right now is a transformation of what the Democrat Party is becoming. And so, yeah, right now it may be only happening in deep blue cities like a New York City, like what we're seeing happen in California, where they got a far left Democrat already in office in Karen Bass going against an even further left Democrat who is a Democrat socialist in Nithya Raman. And then you got out in D.C. also, they got Democrat socialists running out there. And so you have right now, and yeah, these pockets of where they're deep blue already, getting even deeper blue. And now what you will continue to see, and we're going to get into this Cory Booker clip, because you're going to hear more Democrats talking like this. And this is why it's dangerous, because you don't have to live in New York City in order for this to have an effect on you. Because what will end up happening is the establishment Democrats who want to maintain power, they're going to read the writing on the wall, ladies and gentlemen. And so they're just going to start to change their language, and they're just going to become even more accepting, because they're not going to want to lose their seat in Congress. They're not going to want to lose their political position. And so what you're going to end up seeing, I guarantee you're going to end up seeing this. You're going to start hearing more Democrats start to open up and be more open to what the Democrat Socialists and their agenda. And so take a listen to Cory Booker, because he is only the beginning of what you're probably going to start to see more of. Take a listen.
Given that, what did you make of your fellow Democratic Senator John Fetterman today when he was asked about these New York primaries? He said the dirtbag left is surging, I believe is how he described it.
Again, for me, if you want to heal a country, you can't be picking fights. I think we need to understand that our party is not homogenous. One of the things that makes the Democratic Party great is it's a big tent party. We need to stay that way. The focus has got to be the November elections.
I'm going to show you guys exactly who these people are that Mom Donnie decided to endorse, because this is important. This lets you know, I mean, we already knew Mom Donnie was obviously far left. He's made no gripes about that. But this lets you know exactly the direction the Democrat Party is going, and they're not even hiding it. They're not hiding it when you decide that this is the people you're going to push, you're going to endorse, in the direction that you want to take the party in. Take a look.
Idealiza Avila Chevalier is one of the more controversial candidates. CNN earlier in the year reported that she had deleted previous Twitter posts expressing views for abolishing police, prisons, borders, seizing private property, nationalizing major industries, calling into question Israel's right to exist. She spoke to a friend of the show, Esther Herndon, in a recent interview, said that all deportations are immoral.
And if we truly believe in a system where we don't have double jeopardy on the basis of where someone was born, then we cannot also have a system of punishment that is unique to people who were born elsewhere. We need to make sure that if we really value equality in this country, that we are treating people equally, regardless of where they were born. It cannot both be that a person who has citizenship is tried and convicted in one way, and a person who does not have citizenship is tried, convicted, and then forced to also endure another type of punishment on the basis of where they were born.
Yeah, and so she wants you to completely ignore the law that says if you enter this country illegally, or if you are in this country illegally, that should be ignored. And it doesn't even matter if you commit any type of violent criminal action. You should have the same rights to remain in this country after you served your time as a citizen, as someone who came into this country legally, because for her, it is not a privilege to be in this country. It's simply a right that everyone should be given. But that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. Then there's also Mom Donnie endorsed candidate, Palestinian activist Aber Kawas, I'm probably not saying her name correctly, but let's continue, who just won New York State Senate District 12 and is the daughter of an illegal immigrant who wants to abolish ICE, and who has some pretty radical things to say when it comes to 9/11. And so take a listen to this.
We are calling for abolishing ICE. And, you know, I'm speaking from someone who's running for local government, because I really believe that what we also need to do, in addition to fighting ICE, is talking about not just what we're fighting against, but what we're fighting for. So I'm calling all of you to join our campaigns to tax the rich, our campaigns to fight for free universal childcare, for fast and free buses. Because when we talk about universal childcare, I picture a woman who is actually needs someone to take care of her children while she goes and visits her partner in a detention center.
Finding that, like, you know, the system of capitalism and racism and white supremacy, etc., have all, and Islamophobia have all been used, you know, to colonize lands, right, to take resources from other people. And so this is like a long trajectory, and we're just seeing the manifestations of that continuation, right, with 9/11. And so a lot of times when people are asking us to respond about, you know, attack, right, when if you look back, like, historically, right, you know, a lot of us come from lands that were colonized, lands where wars are being waged, right, and a lot of times because of U.S. policy or the policies in Europe. And so I find that we can connect over that, but then also that the idea that we have to apologize for like a terror attack that like a couple of people did, and then there is no apologies or reparations for genocides and for slavery, etc., is something that I kind of find like reprehensible.
Those are the kind of candidates that Mamdani endorsed, that he's backing, and that won their primaries over the candidates that were backed and endorsed by Hakeem Jeffries. And that's why now Hakeem Jeffries is panicking, ladies and gentlemen, because the writing is on the wall for the established Democrats that it's so. Take a look at this.
If you are Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer, you're waking up this morning looking at these results and not only wondering whether they are next, but frankly, how they are going to adjust, if at all, their messaging going into these midterms.
You're next! You're next! You're next! You're next! You're next! You're next! Some other process before they could commit.
Ask about the results in New York last night. You said Mamdani was not the future of the party. Do you regret those statements?
I think the future of the party is diverse, and it's anchored in the fact that we've got candidates all across the country who are running to take back control of the House of Representatives so we can end the national nightmare that's taken place. Mayor Mamdani has been off to a great start as mayor. We have a good working relationship, and that will continue moving forward.
The NRCC dropped off flowers at your office this morning and condolences for the candidates that you endorsed that lost. Do you have any reaction to that?
The thing is that the NRCC and Republicans spent millions of dollars trying to pick Mike Lawler's opponent, and they failed miserably. And Kate Conley, who's now the Democratic nominee, is going to take Mike Lawler out in November, and we're going to take back control of the House of Representatives.
And then finally, do you have any comment? Are you concerned at all about a primary challenge in 2 years from, a Mamdani endorsed candidate?
When you ask me a serious question, I'll give you a serious answer.
Yeah, and so Hakeem Jeffries, who originally said that Zohran Mamdani is not the future of the Democrat Party, now suddenly, ladies and gentlemen, get this. Now he's saying that he doesn't think they're on different pages. They're on the same page when it comes to things. And so check this out.
I don't think we're on opposite pages. You can ask him whether he thinks we're on opposite pages. He doesn't believe we're on opposite pages. There are multiple races that I've gotten involved in supporting House Democratic incumbents, which is what I have done as leader and will continue to do. So with respect to races where he may have endorsed a different candidate, we have agreed to strongly disagree, and we put it into the hands of the people of New York to decide what's the best path forward.
And so Hakeem Jeffries is now beginning to switch it up now, going from speaking about how Mamdani was not the future of the Democrat Party when he was asked that question to now saying they're on the same page, and at most they have agreed to disagree. When the reality is this, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the Democrat Party, it has been taken over. Democrats now prefer socialism over capitalism. The Democrat Socialists of America have been able to capture and take over the Democrat Party base. And so take a listen to this with the numbers.
Well, among Democrats themselves, the Democratic Socialists of America have a higher net favor rating than the Democratic Party does, at least those who are members of Congress. I mean, just take a look here. Dem Socialists of America, plus 17 points. Democrats in Congress, plus 4 points. No wonder that Dem Socialists are getting nominated across the political map in different primaries because, simply put, they are more popular than the Democrats currently in charge.
Okay, I'm just thinking back to when I was sitting here and Zohran Mamdani was sitting there when he was running, and I asked him about capitalism.
Yes.
And he had no problem saying that he had real issues with it. Okay, he wasn't afraid to say it. By the way, he ended up winning. It didn't hurt him. How do Democrats today view socialism compared to capitalism?
There's a reason why it didn't hurt him, and that is simply because this is one of the biggest political changes I've seen during my lifetime. Match up socialism, capitalism among Democrats. You go back 16 years ago, 2010, capitalism and socialism right there, favorable rating, 51%, 50%. Look at it now. Socialism clearly in the lead among Democrats. 66% of them view socialism favorably, just 42% view capitalism favorably. No wonder Mamdani had no problem blasting it.
And so let's check this out, ladies and gentlemen, because the question is always who's voting for these people? Who are voting for the Democrat Socialists? It tends to be the younger residents, and it tends to be the college-educated areas. And so here goes Doraliza Chevalier, the far-left Democrat socialist who doesn't believe in deportation for even violent offenders. She was able to dominate and win younger residents, majority college-educated areas. But then when it came to lower income areas, when it came to majority Black and Hispanic voters, and remember, ladies and gentlemen, she's Dominican herself. And so for the party that loves to play into identity politics, she could not even win a majority of the Hispanic vote. And it says right here, Doraliza Chevalier lost the Bronx part of the district by 30 points. She also lost predominantly Black and Hispanic areas, and she lost lower income areas by 10 points. She won with younger voters and higher income voters, and won a majority of college educated areas by 20 points. And so these are the people who some might say are more entitled, feel more entitled when you talk about the college educated areas and younger residents who don't like the fact that where they are at currently in life and want to blame someone. And so they're going to blame those who are making more money. They're going to blame capitalism. And in that blame, they're turning towards the Democrat socialists and giving them their vote. But now let's go to this last clip. You got Shermichael Singleton on CNN breaking down what's going on right now in this current political landscape. And so take a listen to this.
Yeah, look, I think this is the Tea Party moment for my friends on the left. And many in the establishment wing of my party, they dismissed many of the Tea Party elements. And obviously that spurred the rise of President Trump and him being elected twice. I think that's where this is going on the other side. And I agree with you, Congressman. I think in 2028, it will be a tale of two cities. You'll have your establishment, traditional Democrats, against someone who may be progressive, maybe even a Democratic socialist, making their appeals to younger voters in particular, maybe even middle-aged Democratic voters who find themselves to be completely disgusted by a political system that they believe is no longer working for them. That said, as a conservative, I see this as a real contrast between an element of the Democratic Party that believes the United States should retract on the world stage and be weak and not support our allies. I see a iteration of the Democratic Party that does not believe in capitalism. They do not believe it works. I would clearly view that a different way. It is a message and a contrast that I think conservatives will hopefully draw in November. We'll certainly draw it in 2028. Do you want a prosperous America, or do you want an America with government control that is expansive, with higher taxes, that dictates who can and cannot be successful? I'm willing to bet that most Americans will believe in the Republicans when drawing that contrast.
And so I'll leave it here. The Republican Party cannot underestimate what's going on right now with the Democrats, what's going on as far as the change and the transformation that they're making. It may seem like right now that the Democrat socialists who have taken over, they're way too far left to be able to actually win. When you talk about these other parts of the country that are not New York City, Los Angeles, Seattle, DC, but stranger things have happened. It's all about the messaging. And if for some people, they'll vote blue no matter who because of their Trump derangement syndrome. And since these Democrat socialists, they have Trump derangement, and they're tapping into a base who also suffers from Trump derangement, who wants someone to blame for their life and for what they don't have. And they're finding that. And the Democrat socialists who are just telling them everything that they want to hear, everything that sounds good. But those are my thoughts in the update. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your comments down below. I appreciate when you guys chime in. Don't forget you enjoyed the content. Smash that thumbs up. For more, subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.